Welcome to another episode of Synoptis Lightning Round, where we ask 6 rapid-fire questions with some of the sharpest business minds talking about accelerating business value through technology, IT business alignment, and IT leadership development. Now, here's Cameron and David.
Welcome to another episode of Synoptis Lightning Round. I'm David Rettig, CEO of Synoptis. I'm here with Cameron Ames, CTO of Synoptis. How are you doing this morning, Cameron?
I'm doing well, David. How are you?
Doing good. It's been a little bit of time since our last Synoptis Lightning Round. A lot of changes going on in Synoptis, personally and professionally. Synoptis recently added Julia Azambuja to Synoptis as an executive coach. She adds a lot of different perspectives. She has some international experience and some deep analytics experience. So lots of growth going on there. Personally, for me, I've been working on my doctorate dissertation. I am officially ABD, which is all but dissertation, and hope to defend my dissertation, specifically focusing on leadership development in January, late January. So I will be Dr. Rettig in February and expect to be addressed as such. Cameron, how about you, buddy? What's been going on?
So obviously we've had a lot going on in Synoptis. In addition to adding Julia to the team, one of the things that we've done in the recent weeks is added a new Salesforce package, managed package to the Salesforce App Exchange Advanced Notifications. If you're looking for a way to easily send notifications using the new custom notifications features, don't want to link to a Salesforce record, we've got you covered there. In addition to that and growing Synoptis in general, I've actually had a son in the past few weeks, born 8 pounds, 14 ounces, and mom and baby are both doing great.
Good to hear. I'm super excited that your family's growing, and I'm glad to be doing the lightning rounds again. So today we're talking to a friend of mine, Dan Horwich, and Dan runs Camp IT conferences. I started speaking at Camp IT conferences probably 14 years ago, 15 years ago. Dan invited me to speak up there. They offer some of the best thought leadership in the technical arena. And one of the reasons I love Camp IT conferences is they really don't, it's not a sales pitch at all. They don't let vendors get up in there and pitch their products. So Dan's going to talk to us today about IT business alignment, the importance of IT business alignment, and let's hear what Dan has to say. Today we're talking to Dan Horwich, President and CEO of Camp IT Conferences, providing enterprise IT conferences nationwide. How you doing today, Dan?
I'm great, David. Thank you for having me.
Great. So let's get into these questions. In a minute, tell me about yourself and your company.
Thank you, David. So thank you for the opportunity. So I'm President and CEO of Camp IT Conferences. We've been hosting enterprise IT conferences since 1984. Second generation family business, have a unique perspective on this because while it's second generation, both generations came from IT. The person who founded the organization came from an enterprisation, and I spent a bunch of years working for technology vendors in sales and marketing roles, which has really provided us with a unique framework in terms of how we host these events and provide educational opportunities.
Great. And so we're talking about IT business alignment. Can you tell me about how IT business alignment accelerates value for you?
Sure. So it's really extremely relevant right now because given the pandemic, we had to pivot. And rather than hosting on-site conferences, which obviously we couldn't do, we had to move second week in March. We really had to move on a dime. And we leveraged certain technologies to enable our business to go forward, to host virtual conferences, whether they be webinars, full-day conferences with virtual expo halls, moderated panels, boardroom sessions. We've to date hosted almost 20 virtual events, and it was really the technology that was available that allowed us to power our business forward and bring an international audience together consistently over the last 7 months.
Wow. That's good information. So, aside from the pandemic, and that's going to be everybody's biggest challenge, what do you see the biggest challenge in bringing IT and business in alignment?
Beyond the pandemic, I think it really depends, David, on the size of organization, the type of organization, what they're, if there's really separate silos. When organizations can work together and they lead with a certain level of empathy and they understand one another, that's really where business and IT can get together. If you have silos where they don't appreciate each other, it makes it that much more difficult. So I think it's an issue of leadership and understanding that everyone can partner together to move the business forward. So I would think that's really the main thing is understanding that and how do you act on that quickly.
Yeah, and I absolutely agree. You need to have that leadership there appropriate with the appropriate level of empathy to be able to connect those two silos. That's the very poignant observation. So can you, our viewers and listeners like to hear real world examples of a positive outcome from IT business alignment? Can you think of where you've seen IT business alignment happen in a positive, real world positive outcome?
Sure. I think that if you look at digital transformation, right, everyone's talking about this. Some companies are doing it well, some say they're doing it, and they're really not, and others don't have a clue where to get started. I think that's probably a prime example of a positive outcome of business and IT alignment, because you see certain organizations during this time where they may not be able to go full-blown digital transformation for every aspect of their business, but they may take customer service, or they may take other areas of the business where they can act on quickly to provide better support and more transparent support to their end customers and deliver value. So I think that really, in a nutshell, is where you're going to see, or where we have seen, effective business IT alignment, where you can take both worlds and sort of meld them together to increase stakeholder value, to drive new customers because you have more of a customer interface where you're really removing a lot of the technical barriers. So I think that's really what I'm seeing right now in terms of both have to come together. And really it's not just for the businesses to survive, right? It's for businesses to be profitable. It's for businesses to achieve certain numbers and really get everyone on the ship together.
Yeah, absolutely. And digital transformation, you're right, it's a buzzword, and few companies are executing it really well. So good points. If someone came to you, and I know a lot of people come to you, Dan, and ask for counsel, you have your fingers in a lot of stuff. If somebody came to you and said, hey, we're considering a new IT business alignment initiative, our departments just are operating in these silos, and you could offer them one piece of advice, you're like, here's one thing that's going to make the most difference in a new IT business alignment initiative. What would you say that would make the most difference?
That would make the most difference, I would say, number one, it's about people. So forget the technology, forget the industry. It's about connecting with people and having that level of empathy and understanding what the different stakeholders are trying to accomplish. So you have, your finance executive, and maybe you've got your supply chain executive, and you have your chief revenue officer, and you've got your chief marketing officer. You have to sit down with them and really just listen first. And I would say, seek to understand before you want people really to understand you. And if you can sit down with them and understand what their objectives are, and then mirror with what they're trying to do with how you can help them. But you now, at the same time of connecting the dots with each executive, you then have to, as a leader, have to then have all those folks connect with each other, because someone can come in and connect with the finance person, connect with the marketing person, connect with the revenue individual, and they can all, and separately, they can be on the same page together, one-on-one. But then you have to make sure that those executives across the board laterally are on the same page. So before any initiative happens, before any technology gets implemented, before any business process moves forward, everyone has to be on the same page as to what they're trying to accomplish. But first, understand what's needed from each stakeholder, because the needs for a supply chain person may be very, very different than the marketing individual, than the head of resource planning, whatever role they place. first understand what that is. And that really comes from a leadership perspective. So the business IT alignment has to really start with, it's not even about IT, it's about how do we move this business forward, and then how does IT play a supporting yet integral role.
Yeah, and absolutely. There's a real strong connection between IT business alignment, leadership development, and achieving IT operational excellence. If you don't have I couldn't have said it better, Dan. You hit the nail on the head. So the last question's generally pretty easy. We give people free reign to plug whatever they want. It can be favorite book, a charity, shout out to your family. I know you have some kids. Anything you want. You can say anything you want. Go.
I appreciate it. So it's not even so much a plug is I encourage everyone to network as much as they can, and understanding that networking is helping others before you ask them to help you. So I would encourage anyone that's listening to connect with new folks in the network, whether it's a virtual coffee, whether it's a lunch down the road, whatever it may be. The plug here is find ways to help others, because the more you help other people, the more they're going to want to help you. So I think that'll help listeners on the call. And if people want to reach out to me directly for networking tips, I'm always happy to volunteer my time on that. You can direct message me on LinkedIn. Some favorite books real quickly. I would say Give and Take by Adam Grant is a wonderful read. Shoe Dog by Phil Knight, about how he built Nike, is another one. One I finished yesterday, The Hard Thing About Hard Things by Ben Horwich, who's a famous venture capital investor, along with Mark Andreessen. Favorite charity of mine is the Holocaust Museum in DC. It's near and dear to my heart and family history. And a shout out to my family. I am a devoted father to my daughters, Hallie and Lily, a devoted husband and wife, Jamie, and nothing makes me happier than helping move the needle forward for others.
Great. Well, everyone, this has been Dan Horwich, CEO and president of Camp IT Conferences, 36 years of enterprise IT conferences and trainings. So thanks again, Dan.
My pleasure, David. Thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
So that was Dan Horwich, president and CEO of Camp IT Conferences, talking about IT business alignment. Dan spent a lot of time connecting people and the technology and how that relates to IT business alignment. Cameron, what do you think about people and technology and the importance to IT business alignment?
I think that one of the things that has been a consistent theme within Synoptis lightning round interviewees is that there's this idea that IT people and business people are really speaking separate languages. Their values are different. What they value in a compromise is different. IT people looking at that technical solution from a foundational perspective and saying, hey, what's going to set us up for long-term success? The business people looking at, hey, what does this do to our bottom line as a business? And being able to compromise between those two things really requires an empathy to it that I don't think I've heard many people talk about, but Dan hit that nail right on the head. There's an empathy to reaching across the table to that other person with that other perspective in order to get a compromise that will work for both sides and get both sides in alignment, really understanding where the other person is coming from. David, what about you?
Yeah, it's definitely a difference in perspective, right? We've got IT people, I always say IT people focus on should, and business people talk could, and those are the two different frames that they bring to the table. IT people think about, when they look at a solution, they say, what should we do? How should we do this correctly? How should we make this scalable, secure? What's the best possible way we can do this for our organization? Because they're concerned about the organization. They have valid concerns. Business people think could. What could we do right now to get this going? And it's analogous to medical personnel. If someone comes into the hospital and they need, and they've been shot, what should they do? Maybe there's extensive surgery and physical therapy, and there's things that need to be done in a very long-term sense. But an ER person's worried about, what can we do right now to stop the bleeding? They're not dismissing the should, they'll deal with the should, but they need something now. And so I think that's a good analogy for business and IT, and bringing those two worlds together is what makes Synoptis unique in our focus on IT operational excellence. So I really enjoyed talking to Dan. I thought this was a great session, and I look forward to future sessions of Synoptis Lightning Round.
Thank you for watching Synoptis Lightning Round. For more episodes of Synoptis Lightning Round, visit synoptis.com, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, or wherever you get your podcasts.